My original Black Lives Matter video has been deleted by me because it was low quality, it was based somewhat on incorrect and incomplete information, it came across as insensitive, and my intention was not made clear. In that video, I showed these Google Trends graphs. The intention was to illustrate how massive the recent spike in interest was as compared to the rest of the graph. Search trends alone, of course, don't accurately represent the full situation, but they do often work well as an indicator. The first thing I'd like to address from my original video is the whole looting thing, and while it is very dumb and makes no sense, there actually are peaceful and nonviolent protests that the normie news doesn't report on, which is good. That's good. Not the part about the news. Another thing that must be acknowledged is that, similarly to Alex from Minecraft, I am a white kid, and as such I do not understand black people problems, or why exactly it is that I, someone who is not racist, can't say the N-word. Also, I just want to point out how annoying it is that we call these colors by completely inaccurate names. Anyway, the main point I had intended to make with that data, regardless of whether I was wrong, was that a huge number of people basically only started caring because the mainstream news actually reported on that one incident. While it is good that people do care, it seems a little weird that they didn't actively show it online nearly as much before. The mainstream news reported on this because black man strangled on ground by cop says I can't breathe sounds much more dramatic than police officer shoots black person. You didn't hear about most of these people, and you especially didn't hear about the ones that weren't on Wikipedia. Data is nice, here's some. Although it's only from one source, The Guardian, and is only for 2 different years, 2015 and 2016, it does reflect the idea that white people are killed by police a lot less frequently than people who aren't white people. But the thing I wanted to point out is that there weren't 307 outrages in 2015 or in any other year. It's always over just a few particularly shocking incidents. The news is just reporting on these things more because you're worried about them. And because now they can record it happening at riots and make you worry more. The message I wanted to send with this video was that we should care about this stuff normally and actually do things about it in a reasonable manner if we in fact do care about it at all. Now that I've explained that somewhat, but only to a point where people can still get mad at me, here's a question you might not have thought to ask.
Why are the police racist, and how many of them are really like that?
Think about it. Average people like us wouldn't consider ourselves racist. I, for example, would murder someone regardless of the color of their skin. So, what could be going on in the minds of racist, violent police officers who almost certainly do not represent all police officers? Consider this sign. There are, of course, real genetic behavioral differences between dog breeds, but not all dogs of the same breed are behaviorally similar. People tend to assign certain characteristics to animals that don't actually have them. I believe this may be what's going on, except they're doing it with humans. And a lot of them are probably just racist. There's not much I can do about this stuff though, so don't try to say that me continuing not to give a frick, as everyone else was already doing before, is any form of compliance, consent, racism, violence, or anything else, just because I'm white. That's racist. I released a shorter version of this video for a short time, but thanks to the feedback of a fellow intellectual, I was convinced to extend the video to cover more information. One such topic of interest was racial profiling, which isn't a very descriptive term, but it basically means, he dark! Dark mean bad! Going back to my dog breed example, police probably think black people are more likely to commit crimes and be more aggressive. That doesn't necessarily apply to all police officers, of course, but most of them have stereotypes of what certain categories of people are like, as we all do. Combine this with the fact that police officers are usually accustomed to the idea that extreme force is often necessary, you get this. These stereotypes are often culturally reinforced, and especially so back when a lot of current officers were kids. Perhaps in the future, when most of the law enforcement is run by the far superior Zoomer generation, systemic racism will cease to exist. But until then, keep shrinking this in comparison to this.
Engage in thoughtful discussion in the comments or I'll eat you and poop you out, and it will be very gross.